CBS Radio Mystery Theater presents... Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. Truth is a torch that gleams through the fog without dispelling it, which means that while we may see the truth, we're still left in the dark, which is as it should be. For the truth is the most complex of all human concepts. And while it's true, as the book says, that the truth shall make you free, it's also undeniably true that the truth can make you uncomfortable.
Well, who is this man?
You mean was? He's dead now.
All right, who was he?
A cab driver.
From where?
Marston City.
Well, that's 1,500 miles from here. Now, mind, I've never been there in my life.
That cab driver was murdered.
Okay, some cabbie halfway across the country from here is murdered. Why do you think I should be interested in it?
Because you murdered him.
Our mystery drama, For Want of a Nail, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Sam Dan and stars Betsy Palmer. It is sponsored in part by True Value Hardware Stores and Buick Motor Division. I'll be back shortly with Act One. At this time, it's our pleasure to introduce you to a Mrs. Amina Saunders, or more properly, Mrs. Ralph K. Saunders. She's a most delightful woman, pert and pretty and filled with good spirits, happily married, well-adjusted, with never even a hint of any deep, dark problem of a mental, moral, or psychological nature. She is completely without fears, guilts, or hang-ups. You may well ask, where did we find her? The fact is, there are such people today, except they happen to be out of fashion. Well, our Armina is at an airport, and she has just hailed a cab.
Taxi!
Okay, lady.
Can you tell me something?
It all depends.
Do you know where number 1 Oliphant Avenue is?
Well, sure I know where it is.
Do you know how long it will take to get there?
10 minutes?
Marvelous.
Okay, it's marvelous.
I'm going to chance it. Let's be off.
32, airport to Oliphant, 10-4. So, tell me, lady, why is it marvelous?
Well, you see, I just came in on that huge 747.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was wondering why that size airplane sat down here. I mean, we got a big enough runway, but who'd ever want to come to Marsden City?
Oh, well, there was a minor problem with the right outboard engine.
Is that a fact?
The captain assured us that the plane would get by quite nicely without that engine, but why bother? He said we'd only be here for an hour, but you know something? I don't believe it.
I wouldn't believe it either.
It'll be closer to 2 or even 3 hours before we're airborne. So, this gives me a chance to visit the Audley people.
The Audley people?
Yeah. You see, my husband owns a company. Well, actually, he has a partner, and they make starter engines.
Yeah?
Well, not for cars or big things like that.
No?
No, it's for very small units for, kind of various mechanisms used in a sort of complex machinery. Don't ask me.
Okay, I won't.
Well, what I mean is it's beyond me. It's completely beyond me. I have no head for technology. No, or mechanics or physics or mathematics.
Me neither.
Is that fact?
Like this taxi cab. All I know is I can drive it. Leave something go wrong with it and I have to raise the hood, forget it.
Oh.
It's all Greek to me.
You know, most men would hesitate to make such an admission.
Yeah, well, this woman's lib, it's got to work both ways. Dames want to be freed from the kitchen. Guys should also get sprung from the machine shop.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just because I'm a guy, am I automatically supposed to be able to fix things?
Oh, my husband, he can fix anything, design anything, make anything. His biggest customer is the Audley Company here in Marsden City.
The Audley Company?
Well, to me, they've always just been a name, and now, by just the merest accident... Well, actually, you see, I won a contest. In 25 words or less, they said, tell why you love Aunt Brunhilde's homemade potato salad.
Personally, I hate Aunt Brunhilde's homemade potato salad.
Ooh, it's awful, isn't it?
My wife ever tried to feed me any of that slop, I'd throw it and her out of the house.
I understand. Anyway, the first prize was a trip, though, to Hollywood. And my mother lives there, you see.
She a movie star?
She was. Well, maybe not a star, but certainly a featured player, way back in those days of the silent films. Her name was Betsy Marlowe. Well, you can still see her on some of the late movies.
I'll look for her.
So, in 25 words or less, I wrote how I simply adored Aunt Brunhilde's homemade potato salad.
You lied.
Oh, it was such a tiny, harmless little fib. Really, it doesn't count. And anyway, I won the trip for two. Ralph couldn't go, so I took my sister Ruthie. She decided to stay on for an extra week. I saw so much. Oh, and now, to top it off, I'll even get a chance to drop in on the Audley Company. They must employ a great many people out here.
Yeah, who?
The Audley Company.
I'm just trying to place them.
Well, really? A town this size, and they're a large outfit, I should certainly think.
What do they make?
Well, I'd assume they make automatic machinery of one kind or another.
Well, we got General Engines, United Motors, a couple of steel plants, but, what's that name again?
The Audley Company.
Don't ring a bell.
The Audley Company. The plant is at 1 Oliphant Avenue. That's why I remember it. It's sort of a funny name.
Ma'am, there's no plant at 1 Oliphant Avenue.
But
there can't be. Oliphant's one of the shopping streets. Oliphant, Sheridan, Garfield. You ain't got the factories around the belt.
Oh, I'm positive that...
Now, look. We're just about there now. Here's Griswold. Now we turn right. We're on Jefferson. Uh-huh. Now we go left. Uh-huh. And here it is, the start of Oliphant. And right here is number 1. It's the McCloskey building.
But there must be some mistake.
What kind of mistake?
I know for a fact the Audley Company plant is located at number 1 Oliphant Avenue.
Man, what can I tell you?
Driver, will you please help me?
Well, sure. How?
Answer my questions.
Okay.
And don't think I'm crazy now.
Go ahead.
First, am I in Marsden City?
Yes, ma'am.
Marsden City, South Dakota?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, could there be 2 of them?
No, ma'am.
And you say that there is no manufacturing plant here known as the Audley Company?
I never heard of it.
Well, then I must be mistaken.
I would say so.
But how can I be mistaken? The Audley Company is my husband's biggest customer. I mean, that's a fact.
If you say so.
And I remember, I saw printed shipping labels when I was in my husband's office. The Audley Company, number 1 Oliphant Avenue, Marsden City, South Dakota. What kind of building is this number 1 Oliphant?
Why, you can see it's kind of old, what do you want to call it, seedy, shabby, rundown.
Yeah, well, what kind of offices are in there?
Ma'am, let's just say that what you might call the town's substantial element won't be found there.
Please wait for me.
Where you going?
Inside.
Just a second, ma'am.
What is it?
I don't think you ought to go in there.
What do you mean?
Let me take you back to the airport.
Why?
You're going to miss your plane.
Oh, I have more than enough time.
Ma'am, just don't go in there.
But why not?
Because... Now, look, you got to promise not to think I'm crazy.
I promise.
I get a click.
A click?
It's kind of hard to explain, but it's a click. You know, like you go to a movie, you see a guy, usually the hero's pal, and you know the minute you lay your eyes on him, he's going to be killed. And you get the click.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. And he does get killed.
I get the click on this here building.
Huh. So do I.
Let's take off.
But I have to find out.
Gonna go in, huh?
Yep.
All right. I'm going in with you.
No, that isn't really necessary.
I'll feel better.
Doesn't seem to be a very active lobby. Oh, there's the directory. Look. There it is, right on top of the listings. The Audley Company, room 402. Oh, where's the elevator? Do they have one?
That's right here. Oh, for crying out loud, this must have been the very first self-service elevator ever made.
400, 401, 402.
Hey, look at all them names on the door.
But the top one says the Audley Company.
On a hunch, let me take you back to the airport.
No,
huh?
I have to go in. Excuse me.
Yes?
Is this the office of the Audley Company?
Why do you want to know?
I don't think that should be the answer.
It shouldn't. Why not?
Well, because the answer should either be yes or no.
Well, why do you want to know?
I'm curious.
The name's on the door, isn't it?
I can read 10 other names on that door, too.
Well, you can read and you can count. What else can you do?
I can make deductions.
Such as?
Such as that nobody really has an office here.
They don't?
People just rent an address and a phone number.
Well, now that we've got that cleared up, do you have any other questions?
Yes. Where is the manufacturing plant of the Audley Company?
Just leave your name and number and somebody will call you.
I wonder who. Well, I've enjoyed our little visit, but I must be going.
Drop in again. Anytime you're in the neighborhood.
Well, ma'am, not that it's any of my business, but you sure you got things straight?
No, I'm not sure of anything.
You go back home. You'll see.
What'll I see?
That you got the name or the address or something all confused.
I am all confused. There is an Audley Company at number 1 Elephant in Marsden City, South Dakota, but it's not a huge manufacturing plant. It's just some fly-by-night, furtive little... Well, I don't know what to think.
Hey, ma'am, how about if I scout around?
Scout around?
Something's going on. What it is, I couldn't tell you, but something's going on.
Yes, I'm sure something is.
My name's Oscar. Oscar Hogan.
Oh,
Here, let me give you my card.
thanks.
Now, drop me a line. You know what I mean? Maybe I can find out something.
Well,
Oh, look, I ain't got nothing better to do.
Thank you, Mr. Hogan. I may be in touch with you. Mr. Oscar Hogan, that kind and obliging cab driver, dropped me off at the airport where the plane was ready and waiting. And soon we were headed for home. Didn't really know what to think. Had I blundered into something? If so, what? When the plane touched down at home, it was still early in the afternoon, and I decided to go to Ralph's office. Ralph was out, but Jim Carroll, his partner, was there.
Hey, Armina. Have a good trip?
Oh, it was just great. Where's Ralph?
Oh, he went downtown on an errand. Some places makes new steel alloys or something. I don't know what he puts into those engines. I just sell them.
Jim, do you know that my plane flew directly over Marsden City, South Dakota?
What about it?
Marsden City. That's where the Audley Company is located.
Oh, yeah, that's right, they are.
Have you ever been there, Jim?
Sure. Can't remember how many times.
To the plant.
Fantastic place. Brand new, completely automated.
They're such a big customer, I couldn't help remembering the name. The Audley Company at number 1 Oliphant Avenue. That is right, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, when was the last time you were there, Jim?
When was it? Oh, I guess it must have been last week. Things were really humming.
On Oliphant Avenue.
Yes, indeed. We can't sell them enough engines.
Is it a big place?
At least a square block.
Oh, imagine.
Why do you ask?
Oh, no reason.
Anytime a lady says, "Oh, no reason," on this program, you should say, "Aha," because here we have a lady who has, by the merest flick of fate, discovered a most disturbing, if not devastating, fact about her husband's business. Just what that fact really is and what it actually means, well, it's hard to say at this moment. But you know as well as I do that things may get better in the second act, which I shall bring you in just a few moments. A cat, they say, has 9 lives. A cat, being a poor dumb animal, is necessarily limited. We human beings, on the other hand, are not restricted to so narrow a number. We may lead an infinite number of lives. For life, in truth, is the face we present to the world. And this may vary with our mood, disposition, or interest. We know that some people in our story must be leading more than one life, at least.
What had I discovered? That my husband's biggest customer, the source of a sizable part of his income, simply did not exist. What could it mean? I'd caught Jim Carroll, my husband's partner, and a friend in a lie. Was something shady and illegal going on, and was my husband part of it? Of course, I could forget the whole thing. But how could I forget it? Well, there's only one thing to do, and it's the thing I've always done. Just go full steam ahead and, well, whatever happens.
Oh, Marna, you're not serving that horrible Aunt Brunhilde's potato salad again.
They sent us a year's supply.
Couldn't we donate that potato salad to some charity?
Talking about potato salad, the Audley Company, your biggest and best customer.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
You know the one that you've been shipping all the engines to?
Oh, sure. What about?
They don't exist.
What'd you say?
There is no Audley Company.
Oh, I'm waiting.
For what?
For the punchline, the rest of the joke.
Well, it isn't a joke.
Marna, are you all right?
The plane made an emergency landing out of all places, Marsden City, South Dakota. I had time on my hands, and so I decided to see this great Audley Company plant. You know, just to see it. But there isn't any plant, Ralph.
Oh, come on, you can't be serious.
Number 1 Oliphant Avenue is a run-down, seedy, falling-apart office building.
Honey, that's impossible.
The Audley Company is just a name on the door, along with 10 others or so. And it's just an address and a phone number.
Marna, I just don't understand.
Ralph, have you ever been out there?
No, why would I ever go out to Marsden City? It's Jim. Jim runs the sale. Jim's been out there hundreds of times.
Well, how did you get the Audley Company as a customer?
How do we get any customer? Jim. Jim brings in all the business.
Have you ever met any of the Audley people yourself?
No, honey, I only meet customers when they have problems, technical problems. But the Audley Company never seems to have any.
Ralph, what's happening?
I don't know. I don't know what...
But you send all of these engines to a non-existent company. Ralph, is it possible that this is how Jim could be stealing?
No, that couldn't be possible.
But I caught Jim in a lie.
Yes, but well, all right. Let's say there is something phony
And there is, Ralph. There has to be.
But what? Jim can't be stealing.
There is no Audley Company.
But we're getting paid for the engine.
By whom?
I only know we ship out the engines.
To number 1 Oliphant Avenue, Marsden City.
That's right, and 30 days later, just as regular as clockwork, we get a check.
A good one?
What's good as gold, and we deposit that check.
Ralph, something is wrong.
I don't know what to say. Maybe Jim is pulling a fast one, but well, I guess I'll just see about that.
What are you going to do? Oh, no. Now I'm sorry I even started.
Now, Mina, you had no choice. It's time for a little showdown with Jim. I mean, I let him run the business. I bury myself in the shop. I spend all my time on engineering, and once a month I check out the books. Everything seems to be okay, but now this...
Ralph, what are you going to do?
I'm going to find out what's going on in my own business. Oh, it's my fault. You know, I've enjoyed being the head in the cloud scientist, the absent-minded professor. Well, that's all over.
Hello?
Jim, it's Ralph.
What's up?
Jim, I want you to drop whatever it is you're doing and get over here right now. I've just made a discovery about the Audley Company.
What are you talking about?
It doesn't exist.
Well, now, just a second, Ralph.
It's not a big, modern manufacturing plant. It's a desk and a telephone. Okay, still there, Jim?
Yes, Ralph.
Get over here. And Jim,
Yes, Ralph?
you better have one great story.
I guess I might as well tell you everything.
All right, what is everything, Jim?
I'm a phony.
Jim.
From top to bottom, through and through. I've been taking advantage of you, Ralph.
But how? The company's making money.
Should be making more. 10 years ago, I spotted Ralph as the most brilliant engineer and designer, so I decided to latch on to him. I sold him a bill of goods about what a hotshot salesman I was.
Jim, you are. Aren't you?
No, not really. So we went into business on that understanding. Ralph would make them, I would sell them. Well, selling takes a lot of effort, long hours, hard work. The engines were just great, so I figured I could get rid of them easily if I could just find somebody to take them off my hands.
Tell me something, Jim. Do we have any legitimate customers?
Well, you know we do, Ralph, locally. You know about Consolidated Systems, Brenner and Gassner, people like that. But I ran into this fellow, Robert Audley. He said he could get rid of all the engines I could send him.
Get rid of them? How?
Well, I couldn't press him on that. Anyhow, he was willing to pay the going price, so what difference does it make, I thought?
The going price. Only because you made it the going price. Oh, sure, now I see. We deserve more. But you weren't willing to make the sales effort.
I know, Ralph, I know. You're asking me to tell it, and I am. I couldn't let you know what was going on. And I had to justify a lot of sales expenses.
Go on, Jim.
So I created this manufacturing company. And naturally, I had to take trips out there to service it. And after a while, it just grew and grew, that's all.
Jim,
I can't tell you how happy I am that you found out. I don't have to live a lie any longer.
It was a very difficult evening for me. A man had been stripped down to where his soul had been bared, and I'm not a person for serious situations like that. I try to live in the sunshine, not in the shadow. So Ralph and Jim arrived in an agreement. Jim would buckle down and really behave like a sales manager, and phony deals like the Audley Company were out from now on in. So I decided to forget all about it, and I did. But then a week later, I received a letter. It was from a Mr. Oscar Hogan. Oscar Hogan? Who? Then I remembered. The cab driver.
And you remember I said I'd scout around for you? Well, I'm doing it. And I think I'm on to something. Maybe. I just want to say I appreciate the fact we met because it sure is a great way for me to spend my spare time. But with my sprained back, I can't go bowling no more. I always did want to be a kind of undercover operator, and here's my big chance. I will write further details. Sincerely yours, your friend, Oscar Hogan.
Such a darling, lovable human being. But actually, there was no longer any mystery. And I'd better tell him so. So I had his card, and I decided to call him at the taxi garage in Marsden City.
Marsden City Taxi.
Is, Mr. Oscar Hogan there?
Who?
Mr. Oscar Hogan.
No, he ain't here.
Oh. When will he be in?
He ain't never going to be in. He's dead.
He's what?
Dead. He was killed the other night.
No.
Yeah. Must have been a holdup.
Oh.
That's how the cops figure it.
A holdup?
Why else would he have been shot?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Hey, you one of his regular riders? Why don't you try Ernie?
Have the police any clues?
What kind of clues? You got all these bums running around wild? Hey, listen, you want a cab?
There was an out-of-town newsstand on the east side, so I went there. I was able to get a Marsden City paper. Cab driver held up, shot and killed. Oscar Hogan, 55, a veteran cab driver of this city, was murdered last night at approximately 3 a.m. His change purse and his wallet were empty. A ring and a watch were missing. Police are convinced robbery was the motive. However, the victim's wife, Maud, disagrees. She disclosed to this reporter...
No. Nobody would have killed Ossie for the nickels and dimes and quarters. He was on to something. He was involved with somebody. That morning, he said to me, Maud, there's something going on in this town, and I'm getting close to it. I said to him, listen, Ossie, you stay far away from it. But you couldn't ever tell Ossie nothing. He just wouldn't listen.
Darling? Yeah. A minor?
Yes, Ralph.
Darling, something's wrong. What?
I don't know.
But there is something the matter.
I suppose so.
Well, tell me.
A cab driver was killed.
So?
You remember I said I visited what I thought would be the Audley Company plant in Marsden City?
Oh, yes.
He's the driver who took me there. He went upstairs with me and...
Why on earth would he do that?
I seemed so confused and lost. He just wanted to help me out.
That was a pretty wonderful thing to do for a stranger.
Well, later on, he said to me that he'd kind of scout around and see what was up. I guess he fancied himself an amateur detective.
Well, it certainly did look like a mystery.
No, he's been murdered.
Oh, that's a shame.
The police say, though, it was a holdup.
Well, honey, these terrible things happen.
Yes, but his wife seems to think he knew too much.
About what?
She doesn't know. He didn't tell her. But, Ralph, could it be about the Audley Company?
Well, what's there to know about the Audley Company? Jim gave us the lowdown there.
I suppose. I just feel so awful.
Well, of course, it's a terrible thing.
His wife insists in the papers that something's going on there.
Maybe she believes it, darling. Maybe she has to believe it.
Why do you say that?
Well, you see, many of these hold-up murders go unsolved, so perhaps she thinks that by adding a touch of mystery or intrigue, the police will work harder on it.
Oh, Ralph, do you really believe that?
Yes, dear, and I can understand it. I'm sure that's what it really is.
Well, all right, darling. If you think so...
Another key phrase with us is, if you think so. It's usually uttered by a trusting wife to her husband. It's said in a tone of voice that might imply she is in complete agreement with it. But the statement is filled with what actors call subtext, which implies that there can be all kinds of meaning behind it. We're in the home stretch now. Act 3 will arrive in just a few minutes.
You're listening to the Mystery Theater on WBBM Chicago, News Radio 78.
The world is bright and sunny for some people, and thus it seems to pervade their dispositions and make them bright and sunny human beings. Here we have Mrs. Armina Saunders, and a happier, more up-tempo person would be hard to imagine, much less find. But suddenly our Mrs. Saunders has discovered that there are swift and terrible storms that can overwhelm one without warning.
Hello?
Ralph?
Darling, I've been trying to reach you all morning. Where are you?
Ralph, I'm not sure I know how to explain
Well, explain what?
where I am.
Well, Where are you?
In Marsden City,
Marsden City?
South Dakota. I don't know how it happened.
But,
It's just that, you see, I thought of that poor taxi driver.
Darling, what is there you can do?
I don't know, but I just feel so guilty.
But you weren't to blame.
Maybe I can comfort his widow.
Darling, he was just some poor unfortunate who was killed in a holdup.
But maybe it wasn't a holdup.
What else could it have been?
The Audley Company?
The Audley...
Look,
How?
I don't know, Ralph. I'm sure you're right, but it's just I couldn't help myself. I took a cab to the airport and a plane out here.
Darling, Armina, what can you do there?
I don't know, but something.
Okay, I'm taking the next plane out, and I'm going to bring you home.
What was I doing out here? What did make me come out? What could I hope to accomplish? I didn't know. I couldn't help myself. Something was just pushing me, and it bothered me. I'm certainly not a person who's driven, a person who's complicated, and I don't have any deep, complex motives either, and yet I just couldn't help myself. Well, before I knew it, I was ringing the doorbell.
Yes?
Mrs. Oscar Hogan.
Are you a reporter?
Well,
Oh, that's okay. It's okay. Come on in. Look, I want to see reporters. I want to see every reporter in the world. I want to tell them the true story.
What is the true story?
Oh, sit down. You want a cup of tea, maybe?
No, thank you.
Oh, please. You've got to write this. Make sure you write this. Oscar was killed because he knew too much.
About what?
About what was going on.
Where?
I don't know.
Well, just what was it he told you? Do you remember?
Oh, could I ever forget? It was the last day of his life. I said to him, "Hey, Ossie, what are you so nervous about?"
Me? I ain't nervous.
Well, what are you?
Oh, maybe I'm excited.
About what?
You'll know when the time comes.
Yeah?
I'm pursuing a line of investigation.
You're what?
I'm investigating the activities of a certain company.
Oh, what for?
Because I'm certain there's hanky-panky, skullduggery, who knows what going on.
And what if there is? What business is it of yours?
Crime is the business of every citizen.
Oh, Ossie, we've been married 30 years, and you get lots of crazy ideas, and I hold still for them. But this sounds dangerous.
Nothing to it.
Ossie.
I have floated a few trial balloons, as they say. In a day or two, I shall be ready to pounce.
That was what he said.
He got close to something, and that was why he was killed.
Well, did he by any chance happen to mention the company?
No, he just said I'd find it all out in due time. Oh, listen, you print it. You newspaper people, you gotta get the cops moving.
Well, I'm sure the police are doing the best they can.
Maybe, but it ain't good enough.
Yeah, and you say that's the Audley Company?
Yes, the Audley Company at 1 Oliphant Avenue.
Okay, ma'am, we'll check it out when we get a chance.
When you get a chance? Well, what else are you doing?
Well, we're proceeding along certain channels.
Channels? What channels? Look, this is a lead. It's the only solid lead you have.
Well, thank you, Mrs.
Saunders, I traveled over 1,500 miles to come here.
Now, we sure do appreciate it.
Look, Lieutenant, I know that you've got a lot of cranks who come in here and waste your time.
Oh, we sure do.
And I know that there's just no real evidence, but all right, I'll prove it to you. I'll prove it to you. What kind of stupid thing was that to say? What was I going to prove to him, and how? Just that it made me so angry the way he sat there. He knew that he wasn't going to do anything, but what was I going to do? I found myself walking down the street, and before I knew it, I was in Oliphant Avenue, standing in front of number 1, the seedy-looking office building. And then I was in the rickety elevator, and I was walking along the dark and dingy 4th floor corridor. I was standing in front of the greasy frosted glass door with all those names on it, and then, without knowing why, I was inside.
Well, hello. What can I do for you today?
Well, more than you did for me the other time, I hope.
Oh, was your plane forced down again?
No. No, not this time.
Oh, well, what are you looking for?
I wasn't sure until just now.
And now you're sure?
Yes, I think so.
Oh, well, what are you sure of?
The Audley Company. The connection between it and Jim goes deeper than what Jim told us.
You realize I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, yes, you do. You're part of it.
Part of what?
So far, I don't know, but Oscar Hogan did.
Who's Oscar Hogan?
And that's why he was killed.
I really wish I knew what you were talking about.
You do.
Look, I just rent desk space and phone service to these people. What they do is none of my business.
Well, it must be a very lucrative business. That watch you're wearing? It cost at least $300. You certainly didn't buy that dress in this town. That's Paris.
Mina.
Ralph.
Oh, darling, I knew I'd find you here. I flew out immediately.
Ralph, something is going on with this Audley Company. Jim is still in contact with them.
Oh, no, Jim and I had that all out. Jim promised me he'd never so much as sell them a single engine.
Ralph, how did she know that my plane had been forced down? Who could have told her? Who knew? Only Jim and you and I.
But as far as we're concerned, there is no more Audley Company.
Only if you believe Jim's story. But Jim's been lying to us for years now. Why should he start telling the truth? How do we even know that he's been telling us the truth about the engines? How do we know anything? Well, we'll soon find out.
Well, how, Mina?
I've been to the police.
The police?
Yes, I've told them the whole story, and they'll find out what's going on here. After all, if Oscar Hogan could find out...
Oscar Hogan?
The cab driver. That's why he was killed.
Ralph, it's May Day.
Ralph? What? Does she know you?
I said it's May Day.
Ralph, how does she know you?
Did you hear me?
Yes, I heard you.
Ralph!
It has to be May Day.
Oh, shut up, the both of you.
What is it? What did you just say to me and to her? Ralph, who is she?
What do you want to do with her?
Ralph, who are you?
Ralph, we have to get out of here. I'm in command. I make the emergency decisions.
But what is she talking about?
Our cover is as good as gone.
What does she mean by cover, Ralph?
And we have to get rid of her.
She's my wife.
She's a part of your cover. Just like your starter engine factory.
Ralph, will you tell me what's
going on? Yes,
on?
I'll tell you. She and Jim and I are members of a cell.
A what?
Years ago, we were sent here by...
Ralph!
Well, the country doesn't matter.
You're a spy.
Yes, I'm an agent. Or the title doesn't matter either. Comes to the same thing.
But you're so American. But no one would ever dream that you were a foreigner.
We had the factory to make starter engines. We needed it for a front. But we couldn't earn enough money, so to make it legitimate on the books, we created this phony Audley Company.
Then I am right. It is phony.
Ralph, I'm warning you again.
It was an undercover way that my government could finance our activity.
And you never did ship the starter motors here.
Oh, that's what this cab driver found out. Which is why he had to be...
You killed him.
Well, Amina, we had it done. It had to be done.
You're a spy. You commit murder.
I love my country, Amina. I serve it the way I know best. You have countrymen who do the same thing for you.
Oh, Ralph. What are we going to do?
Ralph, you know what you have to do, and quickly.
No, Dolores. She's my wife. I love her.
I merely remind you of the agreement we all had to make. All attachments would be for the sake of cover only.
Can a human being control these things? I still love her.
She cannot be permitted to live. She knows too much.
I won't do it.
If you don't know your duty, I know mine.
Dolores, don't you dare.
She's got a gun.
Get away from her, Ralph.
No, I won't let you. I won't let you.
Oh, Ralph. Let go. Let go of my arm.
No, you won't kill her. I won't let you kill her.
Ralph. She's...
Yes, she's dead.
Oh, darling, you're bleeding. You're hurt.
Her first shot hit me.
I'll call a doctor.
No, don't. Just sit with me.
Oh, Ralph.
I don't need a doctor. I just need you, darling.
Oh, my dearest.
had to come to this.
No, I won't let you die.
No one can save me. I killed myself.
Well, what are you saying?
I'm a spy. An agent. Call me what you will. It's the only thing I want to do. The only thing I know. A man like me mustn't, shouldn't, cannot fall in love. That's why I died. I fell in love.
Oh, Ralph. Ralph, you...
It's all right. I've had to leave you. And that would have been the same as no life at all for me.
What happened? We were happy. We were in love, and suddenly, without warning, from nowhere, a terrible storm swept everything away. What happened?
The storm. The storm.
It's a dream. You and I, just two ordinary, everyday people. And all this time you've had a secret life. A terrible secret life.
Everyone has a secret life. It's just that I knew what mine was.
Ralph.
Put your arms around me tonight.
Yes.
Hold me close.
Yes.
Close. This one embrace will have to last a lifetime.
My love.
When the police arrived, they were sitting very close together. But he was dead. Well, maybe he wasn't dead for her. For Amina Saunders, he will live as long as she will. She'll feel the warmth of his embrace for the rest of her life. I'll be back shortly. You're probably wondering why our story is called For Want of a Nail. You know, for want of a nail, the shoe was lost, and the horse was lost, and the king, and the battle, and the war, and so forth. Well, just because Amina's plane made a forced landing that day, a series of events was activated that wiped out an important espionage cell, killed 3 people, ended a marriage, and changed a woman's life. Well, why was the plane forced to land? It seems a gasket had become worn, and an oil leak was developing in the engine. The gasket is a tiny piece of fibrous material that costs all of 17 cents. Our cast included Betsy Palmer, Ian Martin, Robert Dryden, and Bryna Rayburn. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by ARM, Allergy Relief Medicine, and Sign Off, the sinus medicines. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams. CBS Radio Mystery Theater presents... Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. There's a very fine line between life and death. So fine, it prompted one writer to tell us that in the midst of life, we are in the midst of death. And in the story that follows, we'll see that where there's love and a will to survive, survive we must. We are going on a journey into the macabre. Come with me to a breathtaking cavern in southern Arizona. Roger Markle, professor of geology, is leading a party of his students on a rock hunting expedition. They're deep below the surface of the earth in this little-known cavern, chipping at specimens of sparkling stone.
Hold that light a little higher, Joe.
Okay.
That's better. Now, can everyone see clearly?
Yes, sir.
Now, this is a splendid example of pyrite.
Pyrite.
You'll remember that this is also known as fool's gold because of its yellow color. It's used primarily... Wait. Listen. Good Lord, it's a cave-in. Everybody out. Run to the airplane.
Our mystery drama, Someday I'll Find You, was written especially for the Radio Mystery Theater by Bob Duran and stars Betsy Palmer. It is sponsored in part by Buick Motor Division. I'll be back shortly with Act One.
Radio. It's been doing nice things for you for years. It wakes you up. It keeps you company in your car. It fills your life with music. It fills your mind with ideas. It informs, entertains. And radio does something else. It sells. Quickly, easily, creatively, efficiently. Consider that last word, efficiently. As a businessman, you know how all costs, including advertising, have been skyrocketing. You know what adflation means. A major advertising agency has just reported that line rates for the largest metropolitan dailies in the top 50 markets rose 12% over the past year. But what about radio? The same study revealed the cost for buying radio in the top 50 markets increased only 3%. What else can you buy today that only costs 3% more than it did a year ago? Get radio selling for you. Call this station. We'll suggest ways radio can help you fight adflation. Furnished by Radio Advertising Bureau.
What's that, an old phonograph record?
Yep, from way back in the 40s. You'd never guess what it is.
Give me a hint.
Well, it's soft music.
Here comes Peter Cottontail.
No, listen.
Culligan.
Soft water service
Culligan.
brings it right to your home.
Women everywhere are raving about the soap and money they're saving with Culligan soft water service. C-U-L-L-I-G-A-N. That's Culligan.
And it spelled out the whole story, except how to call the Culligan man.
Like this? Hey, C-U-L-L-I-G-A-N, man.
Hey, who?
All right. Hey, Culligan man. I like that part, Phil.
The C-U-L-L-I-G-A-N part?
Yes, it sort of casts a spell over you.
With Culligan's economical rental service, you can enjoy the benefits of softened water for a small monthly charge, just as you pay for your telephone or electricity. Call your Culligan man. You'll find him underwater in the Yellow Pages.
From a cavern in southern Arizona, we go now to a fashionable apartment in Chicago, the home of Professor Roger Markle. Anne Markle, the professor's wife, is in her dressing room getting ready for the opera. Her sister Madge is at the living room bar, mixing a batch of cocktails.
Olive or lemon peel, Anne? Olive. Since when did you take up martinis? Oh, about 2 years ago. Has it been that long since I've seen you? Mm-hmm. Not since Mother's funeral. Oh, that's right. Oh, I wish you'd visit us more often, Madge. Hey, will you zip me up? Sure. You know you're always welcome, and Roger is so fond of you. Oh, honey, you know how it is. We all get into our little rut. Well, you've just got to stay on a few days after Roger gets back. He's dying to see you. Well, that can be arranged.
I've nothing to rush home for.
He's due back Sunday.
What's he doing this time?
Well, he has a group of students exploring some cave in Arizona, and he wants to write a book about it.
Here's your martini,
thanks,
dear. I'm sure it'll be a good one.
Mm-hmm. The book, I mean.
Oh.
Well, in his position, he has to publish. It's expected.
Well, all the more reason to be proud of him.
And I am.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'd better call the taxi if we want to make dinner before the... No, I'll get it, dear. I'll get it. You finish your drink.
All right. It might be the valet. I had 2 of Roger's suits sent out.
Yes?
Mrs. Markle?
No. I'm her sister.
Is she at home, please?
Yes, she is. What is it?
Detective Holmes, ma'am. I'd like to see Mrs. Markle.
The police?
Yes.
Who is it, Madge? Who's out there? Come in.
What's the matter, Madge?
I don't know, Anne. This gentleman is from the police.
Police?
Mrs. Markle?
Yes?
I'm Detective Holmes, 31st Precinct.
Oh.
Would you both sit down, please?
Well, what is this?
It's about your husband, Mrs. Markle. Professor Roger Markle of the University.
Roger, what is it? What's happened?
Well, we've had word from the state police in Arizona. He was exploring a cave.
Yes.
There was a cave-in early today, and Mr. Markle hasn't been found.
Oh, dear God. No, I don't quite understand. You say that Roger was in a cave-in?
Yes, 3 of the students who were with him escaped. They say Professor Markle got them to safety, but before he himself could get out, the whole wall of the cavern collapsed.
Oh, no. No.
That's the story we get from Arizona. Of course, we'll want to question the students more fully when they get home. They're being flown in tonight.
Is my husband, Roger, still out there?
We're not sure of anything yet, Mrs. Markle. They say he must have been buried in the collapse. There was no sign of him. They tell us the crews are digging, but...
I've got to go to him. I'll have to fly out tonight. And, dear, there's nothing we can do. No, I don't expect to do anything, but I have to be with him. I just have to be there.
Mrs. Markle, the best thing you can do is stay right here. We'll keep you informed regularly the minute we hear anything.
Keep me informed? My husband is dying under tons of earth, and you expect me to sit here waiting to be informed? All right, Anne, we'll go. We'll fly out tonight. I think we really have to go, Sergeant. If they find him alive, she ought to be there.
That's up to you, ma'am.
Why are they giving up? Why? Anne, dear, there's no use digging anymore. They've hit solid rock. And Roger's been under there for more than 48 hours. There's still no hope. They can't get to it. We came all this way, and they've given up. Darling, they did all they could. The least they could do is give me his body to bury. Anne, dear, let me take you home with me. No, I want to get back to Chicago. There's so many things that I have to take care of. All right, dear, we'll go back to Chicago. I'll stay with you until you're settled. More coffee, Anne? No, thank you. No. Dinner was lovely. Anne, I've got to bring this up sometime.
I know. You want to be getting home.
Well, it's been more than a month now. You know I'd stay as long as you need me, but I've got to get back to Texas for a while. I'll even come back here in a few weeks if you want.
No, Madge, I've got to start adjusting. It's time you did go home.
Oh, my dear.
You know you've been wonderful, and I just couldn't have gotten through this without you. But you do have your own life, and I've got to start remaking mine.
I think the sooner you try, the better you'll be.
Somehow, I don't feel like a widow. I feel as though any minute I'm going to hear Roger's key in the door.
I know, Anne, I know. When Ed died, I used to hear, or thought I heard, him coming in the back door. Once I even thought he was in the shower. Oh. Darling, we just don't change overnight. It takes a long time getting used to.
You buried Ed. You had a funeral,
I
but
know.
It's just impossible to believe death like this. I have to take the word of someone that I don't even know that my husband is dead.
Yes, I suppose that's even harder to accept.
I just don't have any choice.
Well, I'll try try to get a flight out Sunday. Darling, you've got to promise me one thing.
Oh, anything, Madge.
That you'll come visit me.
I promise. Maybe in the fall.
Definitely in the fall. I'll hold you to it. And I'll call you every Sunday.
Oh, yes. Yes, we must keep in touch. And much more often than we have been. But now don't you worry about me, Madge. I do have lots of friends here at the university, and I'll be all right. In time.
Hello.
Anne? How are you?
About the same, Madge.
Well, when I called last week, you seemed more cheerful.
Oh, you know how it is. Day to day.
Well, I'm holding you to our bargain. A visit in the fall. It's the 1st of October.
Yes. Roger's birthday.
When can I expect you? Our Texas hospitality is ready and waiting.
Oh, I hadn't thought about it, Madge, but how about a week from today? Yes, I think I could fly out on the 8th.
Oh, I was hoping you'd say that. I'm dying to see you.
Oh, and I want to see you, too. I'm so anxious to talk with you.
That's what sisters are for. I'll expect you a week from today.
And you're looking wonderful.
I wish I felt it.
Listen, 1 week under our Texas skies and you'll be a different woman.
Oh, I'm a different woman, all right.
How was the plane trip?
I hardly noticed.
Oh, that's the way it is with these jets. They're so smooth, you'd hardly know you're flying. Olive, right? You're still drinking martinis, aren't you?
Well, I haven't had a drink since the accident.
Well, it's time you did. Oh, here's to, what?
There's not much to drink to anymore.
I'm sorry. I should have realized. There's nothing worse than phony cheerfulness when you're ripped apart inside. But I thought you'd be a little better by this time.
Oh, I didn't mean it that way, Madge.
I was doing it for myself, I guess. And I don't know what to say.
Well, I thought time would help. I'm not over it. I'll never get over it.
I'm so glad you came anyway. It shows you're not wrapping yourself into a cocoon.
Well, I haven't had the time to do that. The university wants me to go back to teaching.
Well, that's a marvelous idea.
Oh, they're just being nice. But I might take them up on it. When Roger was alive, he was my life. But now I have to do something.
Well, for the next 2 weeks, you have nothing to do but relax.
Oh, I wish I could relax. If I ever get over this terrible nagging feeling.
It takes time, dear. Roger's death was a shock to you.
That's what nags me. I've had the feeling that Roger is not dead. It gets stronger.
Anne, don't torture yourself with that. I know you and Roger were very close. It's natural that at a time like this you'd feel a certain spiritual bond.
No, it's more than that, Madge. This is a certainty I have that Roger is alive. I don't think he died in that cave-in.
And sometimes we want to believe so strongly.
So that we get carried away. No. This time
All right, Anne. Maybe I'm wrong. If it helps you to believe this way, that's best. If it makes getting up in the morning easier.
Oh, it does. But the nights. Oh, those nights.
Finish your martini. And I'll tell you what we're going to do tonight. We're going to El Vadro.
Across the border.
It's a typical Mexican border town, but loads of fun. Even on a Monday night.
Oh.
You just can't be unhappy with all that Latin music, the color, the life.
I don't know if I'm up to that, Madge.
I know you don't want phony cheerfulness, but try a little gaiety, huh? Just for me?
Well, all right. And maybe I'll take another martini. I'm feeling looser already.
What'd I tell you?
It is exciting.
Hey, how about a fresh taco?
Delicious.
Oh, somehow they're better from the street vendors.
Yeah, I would like to buy a silver piece. I love Mexican silver jewelry.
I know the perfect shop. It's on a side street.
Ah.
They sell all sorts of stuff, but their silver counter's the best in town.
Great.
Come on. I spend almost every other weekend down here. Oh, I love it.
It is garish, though, Mad, don't you think?
Of course. That's what makes it delightful.
Madge.
Yes?
Look, in the front of that shop. The pictures.
What about them?
I've got to have a closer look.
And what's the hurry? What is it?
Look at this painting, Madge. Oh, yes. You see it, too.
Well, now, really, it's a good likeness. But
even to the little mole on his neck.
Oh.
Madge, this is a painting of Roger. An exact likeness. And look at the date below the artist's name. August of this year.
Yes, I see.
That was 3 months after the accident.
Can it really be a portrait of Anne Markle's late husband, Roger? It's not easy to have your portrait painted 3 months after you're presumed dead. Unless, of course, you aren't dead. Madge seems to think it's just a likeness, that it's not really Roger Markle in the painting. But try to convince Anne of that. You'll see how impossible that is when I return shortly with Act 2.
Your lung association takes great pride in preventing the half a dirty dozen.
They call me tuberculosis. TB for short, but not for long, right? Wrong.
Yeah, I'm chronic bronchitis. That's my trademark. Don't dismiss it lightly, unless you'd like to meet my friend here.
Emphysema, that's me. The kind of guy who'd steal your last breath. Occasionally, I'm mistaken for...
asthma. I'm strictly impartial. I don't care whose breath I rob. I even steal from kids.
I'm a cigarette. Now, I may be little, but I'm dangerous. After all, you know what they say about small packages.
Air pollution, alias the gray ghost. I can do more damage at one time than all these guys put together, just by hanging around.
To join in the fight against breath robbers, see your doctor at the first sign of shortness of breath. Don't smoke and try to avoid polluted air. Your lung association considers it a matter of life and breath.
Now, this message from the Chicago Plastering Institute.
Real estate offices report that there's a strong demand for apartments in older, well-kept apartment structures. The most frequently mentioned reason for this demand is that these older buildings have considerably better soundproofing qualities than many of the more modern buildings. The walls in these older buildings were usually composed of masonry and plastering, and this is the prime reason these buildings offer greater peace and quiet to the occupants. In the rental of an apartment or the purchase of a home, you should give serious consideration to the question of soundproofing. The plastered home or apartment is a quieter, more restful place in which to live. When this advantage is coupled with many other advantages of plastering, such as greater fire protection, permanence, ease of maintenance, and higher resale value, it just makes sense to investigate and be sure that the home or apartment is plastered before you make a commitment.
The long arm of coincidence seems to be injecting itself into Anne Markle's life. In a small Mexican border town, she has found a portrait of her husband, presumably painted 3 months after he was buried under tons of earth and rock in an Arizona cave-in. Surely it's coincidence that some artist painted the portrait. But I wonder, perhaps the artist had a model for his painting. Anne has never accepted the fact of her husband's death.
It is Roger. There's no doubt. The face, the expression in the eyes, it's Roger. Can you make out the artist's name?
Let's see, there's an initial E. C-R-E-N... Crenshaw. E. Crenshaw.
Senora is interested in the painting?
Very much. It happens to be a portrait of my husband.
Ah, Senora will surely want to buy it?
Oh, yes, I'll buy it. But I must know where you got it.
Why, from the artist. I represent him here. I receive his work on... Oh, you call... it's a big American word.
Consignment.
See, that is what he calls it. I display them here and get 20% of the selling price.
Where can I find this artist, this E. Crenshaw?
Senora is interested in buying the portrait?
No, I'm more interested in finding the artist.
Would $50 be satisfactory?
$100, if you'll take me to the painter. I must talk to him.
Sold for $100.
All right.
American, of course.
Yes.
The painter lives just outside the town in the flat.
Yes, and now can you give me his address?
Oh, Senora, there are no addresses in the flat.
Oh,
just ask anyone for the Americano.
Yeah.
Or look for the greenhouse at the end of the row. He is the only one that's painted. Excuse me, Senora, I will wrap the painting.
And you're only going to hurt yourself even more. The man who posed for this can't be Roger. I'll know when I talk to this E. Crenshaw. I'll be able to tell by his answers whether it was Roger or not, but I already know it is.
You're not thinking of going there tonight?
Why not?
Well, there aren't any street lights out there. Practically no streets. The flats are nothing but tar paper sheds.
Well, will you take me there first thing in the morning? Please, Madge. No wonder there aren't any addresses. There aren't any streets.
Well, that's what I told you last night. The flats are a sore point with the village government.
Well, why should this Crenshaw want to live out here?
It doesn't cost anything.
Oh, there's the greenhouse.
Well, certainly different from the rest. The artist's touch, no doubt.
Yeah.
That's bigger than the others, too. And there's your artist. Looks like he's expecting us.
Oh, but how would he know?
Well, I imagine the grapevine is very well developed down here.
Oh, he's waving. Well, at least he seems friendly enough.
Good morning. Fine day, isn't it?
Yes. Mr. Crenshaw?
Yeah, that's me. Welcome to my humble villa.
You were expecting me.
I heard a charming American woman was interested in one of my paintings. Bought one, in fact.
May we talk? It's very important to me.
Certainly. This way, ladies. I have fresh coffee on.
Thank you so much. I'm Ann Markle, and this is my sister Madge Connors.
How do you do?
Doubly charmed. It's not much of a villa, but I like it. After you, ladies.
Oh, wow, what a pad. What do the natives think of it?
They think I'm crazy. Sit down.
Well, I would like to get right to the point, Mr. Crenshaw. This painting of yours.
Yes, I like that one. It's one of the best likenesses I've done.
Well, I'm convinced that the man in your painting is my husband.
Oh?
You painted this last August. Now, how did you meet him? Did he tell you his name?
No, as a matter of fact, he didn't seem to know his name.
What?
I met him in a bar one night, the Cantina Flora. He was sitting there staring into a beer. I started sketching him, and we got to talking. You don't mind? No. You've got a sensitive face. Musician? No. What's your business?
I don't know. I mean, lots of things. I'm not really sure.
Head a little to the left, please. No, thanks. I'm Ed Crenshaw. Jose, 2 more beers, please. Don't want to tell me your name? Well, it doesn't matter. We all go through life anonymously anyway.
Well, I'm not sure. I can't remember exactly.
Something wrong?
No. I don't think so. Why?
Well, you don't seem to... Nah, forget it. We all have our reasons. Question period over.
I'm trying to get to Acapulco.
You've got a long way to go.
Yes, I know. I'm trying to find a girl. A girl I knew there once. A lovely girl. And I can't quite remember her face. Her name was Anne.
Oh, running after instead of away from?
No, I seem to have run out of money.
Head just a little higher, please.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll give you $10 for posing. I can probably get you a ride to Acapulco tomorrow for free. I know the comings and goings of everybody in town.
Oh, that'd be fine.
Well, that just about does it. Want to see it?
See what?
Here.
Well, that looks like someone I know.
Oh, I'll fill in the colors later. Listen, you stay here a minute. Have another beer. I want to make a phone call about that ride, okay?
Okay.
I went to the phone to call the police. This guy needed help. He wasn't drunk. He was dazed. He didn't know who he was. I figured the police might have something about a guy missing.
And?
I called him and then went back to the bar. He was gone.
Madge, Roger's alive. He's been here. He's alive and dazed, and we've got to find him. Now do you believe me?
Yes, I do. Mr. Crenshaw, how was this man dressed?
Well, work clothes, sort of. And come to think of it, I remember noticing how his face didn't seem to go with the clothes.
No, my husband is a college professor, Mr. Crenshaw, and a geologist.
Oh, of course.
He was in those clothes because 6 months ago he was digging geological specimens in an Arizona cave, and there was a cave-in.
Oh.
And he was reported dead. I've been a widow for 6 months, but I never believed it. No, he escaped from that cave-in, and he is trying to find me.
What?
We spent our honeymoon in Acapulco 25 years ago, and I'm the girl he's trying to find. I'm Anne.
I know this sounds outrageous, Mr. Crenshaw, but I believe she's right. Professor Markle is obviously suffering from some sort of amnesia.
Can we notify the police between here and Acapulco to look for him?
Yes, but it's been, almost 2 months since he was here. A long time.
Madge, I want to go. Mr. Crenshaw, you've been so kind. May I offer you some money?
No money at a time like this. But promise to let me know what happens.
Oh, I promise. I do promise. Come on, Madge. I'm going to the police, and then I'm flying to Acapulco, to the hotel where we spent our honeymoon.
Good morning, madam.
I have a reservation. Mrs. Anne Markle?
One moment, please. Yes, Mrs. Markle, room 511. Will you sign the registry, please?
Of course. May I ask how long you've been on the desk here?
4 years, madam.
Would you look at this painting, please? Tell me if this man has checked in here in the last month or two.
I would not want to get involved, madam. You would have to see the manager for that.
No, please. This is a painting of my husband. And I have a very strong reason to believe that he may have come here in the past 6 to 8 weeks. You see, my husband is suffering from amnesia.
Yes. This gentleman was here about 4 weeks ago.
Oh.
I remember him well.
You do?
Yes, he left without paying his bill.
I'll take care of it. I'll pay it. But tell me, when did he leave? Did he say where he was going?
No, madam. I remember I was on the desk when he came in. I had just come on duty. Good afternoon, sir.
I'd like a room, please. A certain particular room.
We are fairly well booked, sir. Which room did you wish?
Well, it faces the water, and there's a little balcony. A balcony with flowers.
We have 200 rooms like that.
Oh. Well, let me think. 511. Yes, 511.
Let me take a look. You are in love. Yes, 511 is available. Would you sign the register, please?
Yes.
Is there something wrong, sir?
No. Just trying to think. There. I'm meeting my wife. I expect she'll be along shortly.
Yes, sir, Mr. Smith.
Smith?
You signed the register, Mr. Smith.
I did?
Wait, yes, sir.
Well, how very curious. I wonder why I did that.
Well, sir...
My name is, That's funny. May I have the key, please?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to our room, and you tell Mrs. My wife I've already gone up. I saw him around the hotel for a day or two, and then he vanished.
Room 511 was our honeymoon suite 25 years ago. Look, may I see the registry, please, of the day that he registered?
Oh, yes, madam. Let's see, September 20th, 30th. Yes, here it is. That is the gentleman's signature.
John Smith. Yes, that is my husband's handwriting.
He used the room, but never checked out. In fact, one moment. In the safe here, I have something one of the maids turned in. Would this have belonged to your husband?
I gave him this ring on our 10th wedding anniversary.
And this Mr. Smith was actually your husband?
There is no doubt of it now. How was he dressed?
Oh, I don't really remember, madam.
But was he in, like, work boots, and clothes?
No. If he had been, I would have hesitated to accommodate him. He was wearing an inexpensive suit, I believe, and he had only a small suitcase.
Yes, he must have bought the clothes in Il Vadro.
If Madame would care to consider the bill.
Oh, of course, and add it to mine. I'll be here for a while. I'm going to try and have the Acapulco police search for him.
They will be quite cooperative, Madame. But this was 4 weeks ago. You think he has reason to stay in Acapulco?
I don't know. He's suffering from some sort of memory loss, and all I can do is look for him, just as he seems to be looking for me. Hello?
Mrs. Markle?
Yes.
This is Manuel, on the desk downstairs.
Oh,
we talked yesterday about your husband.
Yes?
Something occurred to me last night. The day before he, disappeared, he came to the desk asking for his wife. No name, just my wife.
Yes.
And he said he wanted to find her because they had to be leaving for Los Angeles.
What?
He said his graduate classes were starting and he had to get back.
Of course. That's where he'd go next. Manuel, is it?
Yes, Manuel.
Would you have my bill made up right away? I'm flying out as soon as I can get a reservation. Oh, and would you have the operator place a call to Mrs. Madge Connors, Conners, and that's Laredo, Texas. The area code is 512-768-3112.
Anne? What is it?
Madge, I'm on my way to Los Angeles.
What?
I have one more lead to trace. A little apartment Roger and I had in Westwood when he was studying for his master's at UCLA.
Well, what brought that up?
Roger was here in Acapulco, Madge.
Are you sure?
I have Roger's ring. The one I gave him.
What?
They found it under the bed in the room he had. And the clerk remembered him. He says Roger told him that he had to get back to Los Angeles for graduate classes. And that's exactly where we went when we came back from our honeymoon.
Anne, I think it's time you went to the newspapers. You know, you can't skip all over the country.
No, I don't want that kind of publicity. Not for Roger.
But the papers can describe his condition. Someone knowing the story might see him, and
well, I'll consider it after I've been to Los Angeles.
Do you want me to meet you there?
No, thanks, Madge. I'll go alone. And I'll call you, honey, from L.A. tomorrow.
All right, dear. I'll sit by the phone.
And pray, Madge. Oh, pray for me.
On a wing and a prayer, Anne Markle goes to Los Angeles for one more trace of her missing husband. It appears that Professor Roger Markle, stunned from the cave-in he escaped in Arizona, is wandering through his past life trying to find his wife, Anne. And Anne is frantically trying to follow his trail and, with luck, to intercept him. We'll pick up the trail that leads to a surprising outcome when I return shortly with Act 3.
Inside you're free. Inside you're free after all. You hear freedom spirit like a wild bird's call.
It's vacation time. The city is disappearing in your rearview mirror. Just you, your family, and Buick LeSabre. A great family car. Comfortable, accommodating, economical. In fact, Published EPA figures show a LeSabre with a 5.7-liter V8 got 16 miles per gallon in the highway test and 12 in the city test. Couple that with LeSabre's 26-gallon gas tank, and you can put a lot of highway behind you in a single tank. LeSabre, you're going to love it.
Inside you're free. Inside you're free after all. Living free. Living free.
This is WBBM Chicago, News Radio 78.
Let's see if you're good at solving mysteries. Northwest Federal Savings is offering gifts in the Northwest Federal Savings 50th Anniversary Gift Rally. They're free or at greatly reduced prices just for saving $250 or more at Northwest Federal Savings. Beautiful gifts like a Sunbeam electric fry pan or a Rival crock pot. Cuddly gifts like a St. Mary's Veloura blanket. And helpful gifts like a cordless grass shears. And over 25 more gifts to choose from at Northwest Federal Savings. There's a Northwest Federal Savings Center on Irving Park, 1 block west of Cicero, in Des Plaines on Dempster, and in the Harlem Irving Plaza. Now, where's the best place to save? Northwest Federal Savings, of course. That shouldn't have been hard to figure out. And your gifts shouldn't be hard to get, because Northwest Federal Savings is open 63 hours a week.
It's Northwest Federal Savings Time, 63 hours a week.
In these days of modern jet transportation, one can go anywhere in a matter of hours. The jet plane is indeed a magic carpet that can eliminate the distance between lovers and bring them together. Now Anne Markle rides such a magic carpet, settling gently on the runway at Los Angeles, closing the distance between her and her husband, whom she's sure is in this city, looking for her. A cab ride to a Westwood hotel, a restless night, and next morning we join Anne in front of a neat white garden apartment.
Yes?
You're the superintendent.
That's right, but we haven't got any vacancies, ma'am.
No, it's not that. I'm looking for someone.
Yeah?
Have you by any chance seen this man in this painting recently?
Last week.
Last week?
Yeah. Caught him trying to get into apartment 2A.
Our apartment.
What was that?
The man was my husband. We lived in apartment 2A 25 years ago.
25 years ago?
Yes.
Yeah, maybe that explains it. He raised a hell of a fuss.
He's suffering from amnesia. What happened?
People in 2B called. Said some guy was hammering on the door to the apartment next door. I look out the window across the pool. Sure enough, this guy is on the balcony in front of 2A, banging on the door. I hightail it over.
Anne, open this door.
Hey, what's going on here? What you want?
I want to get into my apartment. Anne, are you in there?
This isn't your apartment. The Murphys live here.
I took this place a month ago, just before my honeymoon.
Look, Mac, if you want trouble, I know how to hand it out. Now scram.
Who are you to tell me to get out? I'm getting Mr. Foster.
Mr. Who?
The super. Now, you're the one who'd better scram.
I'm the super.
The devil you are. I never saw you before.
Now, look, buddy, let's go quietly, and I won't call the police.
Otherwise... Why doesn't she answer? Anne!
Okay, let's go. Come on.
Anne, why don't you answer? Anne! Anne!
Anne. He called my name.
It was you he was looking for?
Oh, yes. And he called my name. That means he knows who I am. Maybe he even knows who he is by now. What happened then? Where did he go?
I ushered him out to the street and didn't see him again.
And this was a week ago?
A week yesterday. If he's like you say he is, the police might have picked him up. Why don't you try them?
Oh, if only they have.
Sure hope you find him soon. Fella running around like that could get into trouble.
Hello?
Madge, it's Anne.
Anne, what's the news?
Roger's on his way home to Chicago. I'm flying out immediately.
What?
Will you come and stay with me? I need you now, Madge.
Well, of course, I'll leave tonight. But how do you know he's going home?
He got a ride. He might even be there looking for me, and Look, I'm going to tell you all about it when I see you. And I even hounded the airlines, trying to see if Roger might have flown out of Los Angeles during the week.
And nothing, right? Now, come on, stop the cat and mouse and tell me how you know Roger's in Chicago.
I was having lunch in a little coffee shop in the valley.
Yes?
A truck stop, really. And I'd been walking and showing Roger's painting. I guess people thought I was a crazy woman.
Well, it was a little erratic.
Well, I put the painting down on the counter, and when I ordered a chicken sandwich, the counter clerk looked at the painting and told me Roger had been there.
Oh.
He was positive, because, as he put it, the guy was trying to get a ride to Chicago. Well, he told me one of the truck drivers offered Roger a ride, and they left together.
Oh, Anne!
Now, this was 6 days ago. All the time I was chasing around Los Angeles, Roger was on his way home.
Oh.
But I almost expected him to open the door for me when I got in this afternoon. He wasn't there, of course, but now at last we're in the same city together. Oh, Roger's coming home.
How about a movie tonight?
No, I want to go to Kelsey's.
Again? We've been there 3 nights in a row.
Madge, I feel so sure that Roger might turn up there. We spent so many happy evenings there when we first came to Chicago.
Honey, we've got the police and all the newspapers on the lookout. Why don't we just sit tight?
I can't, Madge. I have to keep doing something to keep from going crazy.
Okay, Kelsey's it is. But I think that bartender is starting to wonder about us. Well, we're pretty sure at least that Roger's in Chicago or on his way.
Yes.
It's just a matter of time. Why not try to relax?
I'm closer to him than I've been yet. I can't relax. It just might be any minute, even here. I feel that I'm doing something. Putting myself in his path, perhaps only, but in his condition, anything might happen to him. I almost feel that I ought to be on the street. Madge. Oh, Madge, look at the window. Look.
What?
It's Roger. He's there on the sidewalk. He's looking right in at me. Roger?
Good Lord.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm in a
terrible hurry.
Excuse me. Roger. Anne, where is he? I don't know. I saw Roger at the window. I thought he saw me. He looked right at me, but he's gone. Oh, I've got to find him. He can't be far.
Anne, wait. It's too late, Anne! Oh, thank heavens for you, Lieutenant Holmes.
Well, I heard the call come over the radio. Curious. I knew immediately it had something to do with this Professor Markle.
I'm frantic about Anne. Where could she go?
Well, she could have turned down any of these side streets.
Oh, she's so upset she'd take any chance to find her husband.
Mrs. Connors, do you think Professor Markle is alive?
Why, of course.
I mean, Mrs. Markle isn't imagining this, wanting to hope.
I thought it might be like that at first, Lieutenant, but I was with her when she found the painting and when she talked with the artist. And then Professor Markle did turn up in Acapulco and in Los Angeles.
And you saw him tonight?
Well, Anne saw him first. My back was to the window, but when I turned, I saw someone moving away.
Well, if he's alive in this city, we'll find him. Tonight, Mrs. Markle, too.
No, he just couldn't have gone this far so fast. He didn't recognize me. He looked as though he didn't even see me. Maybe I'd better go back. He couldn't have come this far. Oh, Roger, where are you?
Anne, over here.
Madge, is that you?
Oh, thank God we found you. I called the police. I'm with Lieutenant Holmes. Come, get in.
Oh, Madge, I've lost him.
I've sent out an alert on the whole area, Mrs. Markle. We'll find him. Get in. We'll keep on cruising.
I just didn't know which way to turn. I took a chance and went left, but he must have gone the other way.
We'll cruise back. Keep your eyes open. It's harder to recognize someone at night.
Madge. There, look. Huh? That man at the end of the block.
Where?
I think... Yes. Oh, stop, Lieutenant. Please stop. He's walking toward us. That's Roger's walk.
It is Roger. See him? He's in the light of the street lamp now. Anne! Roger, over here, Roger! Oh, he doesn't hear me. Anne, wait! Roger! Roger! Anne, stop! Look out! Anne! Oh, God! Anne!
Car 51 to headquarters. Ambulance to Elman Spring. Ambulance. Come on. Back, everybody. Please, please. Stand back, everybody.
I can't look. Lieutenant, is she?
I don't know.
Why did she run like that? It wasn't Roger. There wasn't anyone there on the street.
And there you are.
Oh, Roger, at last.
Oh, I've been looking everywhere for you,
I
darling.
know, dearest. Oh, I knew you were alive all the time. I kept looking. I kept following you. I never gave up.
You were following me?
Yes.
Well, I was looking for you. I couldn't find you at the honeymoon suite, and then in Los Angeles, our old apartment, remember?
Yes.
Well, you weren't there either. And I was confused. I kept trying to think, where would Anne go next? And then I knew. Yes, we left Los Angeles when I got the teaching job in Chicago.
And that's just what I did. When I learned you were on your way to Acapulco, I just knew you were looking for me in the old places. I tried to think where you'd go next.
Yes, two minds with a single thought.
Because we've been one since the day we were married.
Yes. Oh, Anne, I knew that someday I'd find you.
Come, Roger. Oh, let's go home.
Home?
Mm-hmm. To our apartment.
Oh, that isn't home for us anymore, Anne.
Roger, dear. I know you've suffered a terrible shock, but we'll work it out together. You'll be fine. It'll take time, but trust me.
You don't understand, do you, Anne?
Oh, I do, darling. And I'm going to help you.
No, I should have realized. It's too soon.
But what's too soon?
You'll understand in time.
What is it, Roger? What are you trying to say?
I didn't realize the truth until I saw you. And now I know. And you'll know soon, too, my darling.
Roger, I trust you. If you say so, then that's enough for me.
Come, Anne. It's time for us to go. To be together, always.
And that's all I want, Roger, is to be together, always.
Hey, don't look so worried. Let me tell you the trouble I had realizing just what was happening.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Connors. There's no pulse.
Oh, dear God.
Mrs. Markle is dead.
Love has a way of fulfilling itself. Across eternity, Anne and Roger Markle find each other. And Madge, earthbound and mourning for her sister, cannot know the joy Roger and Anne are sharing. She will bury her sister's body without the slightest inkling of Anne and Roger's present happiness, for they love one another and have found one another.
It's the fall of a sparrow and numbers the hairs on our heads. I have a solemn vow registered in heaven to finish the work I am in full view of my responsibility to my God, with malice toward none, with charity for all, with firmness in the right, as God gives me to see the right.
Presented by the Catholic Communications Foundation.
Some people chase rainbows, others chase butterflies. We're all pursuing something in life, a hope, a dream, a mate, even happiness. And when the object of our pursuit is love, no barrier is too great to overcome. For love is the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, the monarch butterfly of all human needs and emotions. And in our story just concluded, it was a force that transcended even death. Our cast included Betsy Palmer, Joan Shea, Larry Haynes, Gil Mack, and Robert Maxwell. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. And now, a preview of our next tale.
Won't you introduce me to that very attractive friend here?
Yes, of course. Sandy Oaks. My stepdaughter.
Oh, you're not. You're not the daughter of that poor woman who drowned accidentally.
Yes, Mrs. Chapman, I am.
You know my... Oh, Greg told you.
No, I've been watching you and Mr. Manchester ever since he met you a week ago.
Watching? Greg, darling, what does she mean?
Oh, never mind, Florence. She's a troublemaker. She tried to stop me from marrying her mother.
I tried to stop you from murdering my mother.
Oh, gracious, such talk. You're in a restaurant.
Mrs. Chapman, let me give you a tip. A tip that will save your life. Say goodbye right now to this charming, well-dressed murderer.
This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.